Hello, this is Will Faerber from Art to Ride, and today we're looking at a second submission by Paula of her horse Oliver. Oliver's an 18-year-old rescued horse that she's been working. She's been lunging him a lot using the shambone, which she says has helped a great deal, and I can see from the second submission that it has. Today, however, she's just ridden him without lunging, gotten on him cold, and what a great job she is doing with him. Already he's much more swinging through his back, reaching into the contact. This looks really good. Now obviously he needs to stretch a little deeper here, but he does do that here very shortly. But the back end is moving quite nicely. From what we saw in the previous video, he's already stretching deeper into the contact. Now remember, she didn't lunge him this morning when she rode him. I like how she's maintaining contact with her hands. It's really good. We see moments when he's stretching all the way down like that, just the right thing. Really, really good. So you're certainly on the right track here, and I see a big improvement since the last video. Look how steady the horse looks. You know, when you stop pulling on horses' mouths, they begin to become steady and rhythmic. So people don't realize how often that they're creating their own problems by the way they're going about riding. But look how beautifully this 18-year-old horse is starting to stretch into the contact here. She's done this all on her own. Nice change of direction there. And once again, even if you don't get the horse completely into the stretch, the horse is better off just being ridden with a loose rein than it is anybody trying to pull its head down, which is the biggest mistake anybody can ever make. And the biggest sort of glaring error that we see in riding, you know, all around the world really is people riding the front ends of horses rather than letting them come through from behind. What a great job she's doing here. He's really starting to stretch into the contact there beautifully. And I also see a difference in his back there. You know, every time we look at another submission, you know, some of these horses that were kind of hollow, look behind the saddle and look how that's filling up beautifully compared to the last video. The hocks are working round and active. And for the short time you've been doing this, this looks really good. How the top muscles on the top side of the horse's neck are beginning to expand, rather than that U-necked look that we see. Whenever you see a horse U-necked, it basically means that they've been pulling with their shoulders their whole life instead of using their back end to bring themselves forward. This is really good. I love how you're just maintaining the contact there. It's just what you want to do. Just getting that feel for not losing the contact with the mouth of the horse. You know, the beauty of this type of riding as well is that it not only improves the horse, but because you're not holding onto the horse's mouth, you're not balancing against the horse's mouth. Beautiful stretch right there. That's just what we're looking for, just like that. So not only does this type of riding improve the horse immensely, it improves the rider's balance because the rider simply isn't balancing against the mouth of the horse, so they really become in balance. It's just like the horse. If you hold it up, you will hold it up for the rest of its life. It'll never become balanced. It'll never become in self-carriage from you holding against its mouth. Now, some people think their horses are in self-carriage because they're actually broken at the neck and behind the bit and not really moving. So they have a false sense of balance. Look how beautiful this is. This is really nice. And look how long this horse's neck is. And once again, it doesn't matter whether they're 18 or they're 2. It takes about 2 years for a horse to go through the change necessary. That is, their withers change and that the shoulders pull up through the withers and we see a much more defined forehand and a much more uphill looking horse. So every horse, no matter how downhill it may look to begin with, this type of training will change its physical posture. Just like a person who begins to stand up straight and hold their back and shoulders in the right positions. Very, very nice. So this is excellent work. And compared to the first video and only the short time you've been doing this, this is really excellent. And this 18-year-old horse, you'll see no reason why he shouldn't have another 10 good years of work. It's just very sad these days that people are thinking that horses are, you know, are needing injections at 6 and 8 years old. And then they're worn out at 10 or even younger in some cases. This is really good work. Love the way you're just coming back to the walk and letting him stretch. I like how you're keeping your seat very light in the saddle. Very nicely done. Beautiful stretch in the walk. Now, of course, we want him to become a little more active in the walk and just a little more consistent. But for what you're doing here, for just beginning, this is excellent. And as you say in your tape, you know that you're not doing the canter, and that's exactly what you should do. When the horse is strong enough to canter correctly, it will. Whereas if you canter a horse that's hollow, it's only going to get sore in the back and sore in its feet, probably. Because remember, what getting a horse working over a top line does is it puts the shock absorbers on the horse, so to speak, so that the concussion of the movement is taken to the soft tissue instead of the hard tissue. That's why we see so many of these horses that are hollow being forced against the hand, going lame at such an early age. Because all the concussion of movement is being taken into the hard tissue of the joints instead of the soft tissue, where it can be absorbed without damage to the skeletal structure. Really nice work here, getting him into the stretch. And so it's not important that the horse, ultimately, we want him to stay there consistently, but you're getting it consistently enough that you're really making great progress here, and it won't be long before he just stays in the stretch all the time. Once again, the other beauty of this system is that the horse loves it because the horse is finally allowed to move in the way nature intended him to move. So we see all the resistance just disappear. And in the case of this horse, she said he was very spooky before she started this kind of work. Well, horses that spook all the time usually are being tortured all the time. So they're looking for what's causing them the pain. So, if you're riding them and, yanking on their mouths and or sitting in such a way, or you have an ill-fitting saddle, anything that causes the horse's pain, he's going to look around. Remember, horses are animals of flight. So their response to pain is to run away. So that's why we see these horses become nervous, especially if they're the thoroughbred type horses. That is a hotter type horse. Beautiful stretch in the walk there. Really, really good. Very nice work. And I like how you're taking periods of time where you just come back to the walk. Very important. Just come back to the walk and let him stretch back out. One of the most important things to realize is whenever you run into a wall a little bit with a horse, it becomes difficult. Don't try to push through the wall or force the horse to do what it is you're asking him to do. Just take a step back to what came before it. There, beautiful. Now this trot started off a little bit fast and a little bit rushy, but you slowed it back down. He's starting to stretch again, which is just what you want to do. There, good stretch in the walk now. That's what we want to see. So just stay away from the canter. As you said, just once in a while check it, see how it's doing. In no time at all, when you see that the canter is stretching and staying over the back on the lunge line or in your shambone, then you can begin to think about it on the horse's back. But if the horse can't canter on the lunge line, it's not going to be able to canter any better with you on it. It's only going to be worse. So just don't bother until the horse builds some strength. And in no time at all, you'll find that he will be able to canter. Good. I like how your hands are developing that nice soft contact. I never see him pulling or yanking on the horse. And you're beginning to learn to establish that consistent contact, which is most important to correct riding. Very good stretch in the walk. So this has been very good work. He's not there absolutely 100% of the time, all the time, but you're working towards that, and it won't be long before you will. And for him to have come out and worked this nicely with no lunging at all is absolutely fantastic. Tells me you're right on your way. Because remember, our cardinal rule is if you can't get on and stretch the horse at the walk, it should be lunged. But you're able to achieve that now. You can get on, you can stretch the horse in the walk. So it's okay to ride him. Now, I still would suggest that most of the time you start with the lunging just to help him before you put your weight up there. But as long as you can do this, as long as you can get on and stretch the horse in the walk when you get on, it's okay to ride without the lunging. Though I still would recommend it just in terms of letting the horse build a little more strength. So this is great work and a huge improvement over what I saw last time. I think what you'll see, he may be 18, but you're going to see him get younger. We're going to rejuvenate this horse. And you'll see in another year of this work, he'll look like a 4-year-old again. I've done horses as old as 27 in this work and brought horses back that had completely sway back and brought their backs all the way up. So you can certainly do it with this one. Very good work. I look forward to seeing your next submission. Keep up the great work. Keep doing what you're doing, and you're going to improve all the way along, as is your horse. This is Will Faerber from Art to Ride. Really great work, Paula. Look forward to seeing your next submission.